In this time of crisis, we are right here to help keep the power on.
We are here to serve you. We are committed to ensuring that you have electricity. Without electricity, not many things will work.
We are right here to help keep the power turned on.
We are CC. You can count on us.
Think about something that makes you happy. Did it make you smile? We know it did, because that's what we do at Sagicor. Put smiles on our clients' faces every day. With a large range of products to cover your family, it's no wonder most locals choose Sagicor for their life insurance needs. Serving the community for over 25 years. Let us put a smile on your face. Call your Sagicor advisor today.
Burger King has been your family restaurant for many years. Bringing you delicious food in a safe environment has always been our #1 priority. And until further notice, you'll only be able to visit us via drive-thru.
Get your motor running, pulling out past Red Bay, looking for a BK at whatever time of day. Burger King drive-thru.
Burger King's drive-thru is open at 7 Mile Beach, Waterfront Georgetown, Walkers Road, or Red Bay for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Live from Star 927 Studios in the center of Cayman's capital city, Georgetown. This is Straight Talk with Ruthanna.
Good evening, everybody. You are tuned into Straight Talk, brought to you exclusively by Star 92.7 Premium Radio. I am your host, Ruthanna Young, always proud to be your host here on Straight Talk every Monday through Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. right here and nowhere else other than Star 92.7. It is 5:03 on the Star 92.7 clock, and it is the 21st of April, winding our way on through the month. This is certainly a first time for me. We're going to call this the home edition, in the interest of social distancing and taking the necessary precautions. Although we will be live as we always are, as you can see, I am home, streaming from home, which is exciting. But we will be with you until 6 o'clock this evening. I'm going to be joined this afternoon for the first half of the show by members from the Department of Tourism. We have one Who Your Mama Is segment this afternoon, which I'm so excited about because it is always exciting to do Who Your Mama Is. And this afternoon's topic is also something that I think is so on time right now. Our Department of Tourism is responding to what is, to this current time, and they are rolling out their some e-learning webinars, which we will get the opportunity to talk to them about this afternoon. 943-3700 is the line in studio, and yes, you can still call the studio line to join the conversation. You can also WhatsApp me at 324-1565, and if talking ain't your thing, you can email me at straighttalkci@gmail.com. But you guys know the deal. Before we go any further into our conversation here on Straight Talk, we always start our time together with the reading of today's daily bread, just a moment focused on God and meditating on His Word. So today's daily bread is entitled Friends Again and comes from Romans 5, verse 10, and reads, "How much more, having been reconciled, shall we be saved through His life?" And the writer goes on to write, "A mother and her young daughter are sitting in church one day. During the service, opportunity is given for people to publicly receive God's forgiveness. Every time someone walks forward to do so, the little girl begins to clap. 'I'm so sorry,' the mother later tells the church leader. 'I explained to my daughter that repentance makes us friends with God again, and she just wanted to cheer for everyone.' Simplified for a child's mind, the mother's words were a good explanation of the gospel. Once God's enemies, we have been reconciled to Him through Christ's death and resurrection. Now we're indeed God's friends. Since we were the ones to break the friendship, repentance in our part is completing the restoration process." And the little girl's response couldn't have been more appropriate. Since all heaven claps when just one person repents, she was unknowingly echoing its applause. Jesus described His reconciling work in similar terms. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. As a result of this sacrificial act of friendship towards us, we can now be friends with Him. "I no longer call you servants. Instead, I have called you friends. Once God's enemies, we are now God's friends. It's an overwhelming thought and one worth clapping about. Thanks be to God for that word today. As always, here on Straight Talk, we remind you, we encourage you to spend time each and every day focused on His word, meditating on His grace and how awesome He is, whether it be in the morning or the evening, or right here with me, Monday through Thursday on Straight Talk. With that, I will invite into this conversation now someone who has been with us before, the current director of tourism, Miss Rosa Harris, and our newbie to the Straight Talk studio, at least Straight Talk with Ruthanna, Miss Carol Brighton, tourism development supervisor, who I have been in her classroom a number of times, but it is her first time to be in my classroom, so to speak. But welcome to you both. I think I need to get audio for them both so I can hear them, and then we will be ready to go. Can Miss Rosa, if you just let me just make sure I can hear everybody.
Yes, thank you, Ruthanna. Pleasure to be here.
Awesome. And so before we delay any further, Miss Carol, it is your first time here on Straight Talk, which means that everybody is dying to know who your mama is.
Well, as you know from personal experience, I come from Cayman Brac, the beautiful, beautiful island. You know, we're very proud as Cayman Brackers of our heritage and so forth. And so I grew up there most of my life, but I also have lived in California and Colombia. My parents come from some of the smaller islands belonging to Colombia. Most people are more familiar with San Andres, but I grew up on Providence. So all around, I'm like a middle island child. In terms of professional background, I have both my undergraduate and my master's in marketing. And I have such a love for hospitality. So honestly, after finishing my degrees, the one place that I wanted to work for was the Department of Tourism. And I've been very fortunate to have been with them I just celebrated 14 years on April 3rd.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's definitely a pleasure to be a part of the team. To be honest, it's more of a family. So I get my support professionally, and then when I leave, I have it personally.
That is awesome. And Miss Rosa, you are no stranger to the Straight Talk studio. You have, so they don't get a second Who Your Mama Is segment this afternoon. But welcome back. I think this is new for all of us, for many of us across the board, to be going into these virtual environments to do the things we would normally do in person. But I think good adjustments, so to speak. I think tools that we can use going forward. And Department of Tourism is responding to what is, right? People may be wondering about what this Department of Tourism up to right now, considering the first and hardest hit industry for us has been tourism, which is basically completely shut down at this stage, and will be probably for at least another few months, right? But you guys have found an opportunity in the midst of a world health crisis, and I want to. You are rolling out your e-learning webinars, and so I want. I'm not sure which one of you will take this, but if you could, share with everyone, what is it that you're doing at this time? What are you guys up to?
Yeah, so thanks, Ruthanna. It's a pleasure to be on the show again. And hello, good evening, Cayman, from the Department of Tourism, as we are all working from home and spread across the Cayman Islands, including the BRAC. Most of our followers and those that work with tourism see the marketing, advertising, the ad campaigns that we do. But there are two pillars to our organization: product development, for which the training, support to our sector, hotel licensing, scholarships, all of those subjects fall under product development. That is the promise of what we have here in the Cayman Islands: the people, the experiences, the hotels, the attractions. That's the product offering. And our marketing team takes that to market and tells the world about it. and we ensure that our product is of a very good quality to be able to deliver on that promise. So we are doing quite a bit at the Department of Tourism, despite the industry being shut down now due to the COVID-19 threat. And one of our first offerings to the Cayman Islands public is online learning. We all know that it's a stressful time. We all have gone through various challenges in transitioning to a new normal. And a lot of employers are still operating, but perhaps employees are not fully utilized right now and can concentrate on some professional development. And these webinars are geared towards those that would like to brush up on their professional development training opportunities.
And that's exciting news, because now I have, through 2 occasions, and on all occasions, have had the amazing Miss Carol as the instructor at the front of the room. I have taken, 2 of the workshops, I think one of which is being offered through the webinar series, and then another one that you guys decided to roll out. During the course of training to become a cabin crew member with Cayman Airways. So that was my first exposure, because it's a mandatory part of our training. And that subsequent to that, my mother and I decided, just for our, something that we thought would be good, having been raised in hospitality, have since done the classes after that more recently. And since you guys have moved up at that time, we're in the training center up at what was Merco Center. So now we're moving to a virtual classroom through your webinar series, which is a change for everybody, but I think that it is right on time. So Ms. Carol, the lady who is normally, at least in my experiences, at the front of the room, how are you feeling about these webinars that you guys are rolling out? And if you could share with everyone, what are the webinars that are going to be offered?
Honestly, I'm excited about what we've developed. I think it could have come at a better time, while people are at home, like Rosa said, and they might have some downtime. This is the perfect time to prepare for whatever the next phase of life will be. And we remain committed to the tourism industry and the personal development of the staff in that area. In terms of promises, most people are very familiar with that, so I'll address that one first. And what we wanted to do was take a very popular class and revisit it to make sure that we communicated all the same things, but in a fresh new way. And so we have restructured it. Obviously, we went from a full day workshop and now we're whittling it down to 40 minutes. So that was quite the challenge, what to stay, what to go, what will still give the same information and allow the staff that works with our visitors firsthand to be able to deliver the best possible service in true Caymankind fashion. And so what we've done is we've taken a look at, first of all, why bother with a customer service class? A lot of people think it's commonsensical information. Why do I need to take a training? And I sat down and we thought about that and said, okay, well, the whole point that we're aiming at is at creating loyal customers. Mm-hmm. And there is a huge difference between repeat business and loyalty, and that becomes so much more important at a time like this. And if you really want to know the difference, you have to come to the webinar. So I'm not going to give too much away, right? Business, shameless plug. We can't bank on repeat business. What we really, really need to build is a loyal customer base. And so we look at the 3 things that are most important for you to focus on as an employee to achieve that goal. And while this is particularly beneficial for those who work on the front line, I encourage everyone who deals with customers, whether behind the scenes or on the front lines, to attend. It never hurts. And when you as a business community are all speaking the same language, it helps to work towards a common goal. And so when someone says, oh, well, the expectations or this is what drives loyalty, now you guys are all on the same page. And this, like Rosa said, is the perfect opportunity to prepare. As it
And
relates to
I just want
found,
to I want to
sure.
drop something in right there, if you don't mind. Now, one of the things that you pointed out was, the creating, customer loyalty. People often forget or don't even realize is that Department of Tourism advocates on behalf of our whole industry. So what you are, regardless of who gets a piece of the pie on each individual visit, Department of Tourism works to ensure that the customers of the Cayman Islands, on as a whole, continue to return. And one of the things I would personally like to encourage persons is because I think about how many times I've been stopped in a parking lot in on the side of a road at the gas station because tourists need information or they something from the random person that happens to look like they're from here that they encounter because they want to find out, are they going in the right direction, or they stop you when they're walking in the middle of town, where should they go to get something to eat, where can they get a curling iron, whatever the case may be. We all are a part of our product. And so I think when I took the class with my mom the last time, Carol, it was something that was driven home for me in that class. And we're all in different headspace at different times. And I just remember walking away thinking how incredibly important this is for, like, these classes are for everybody. Now, I don't necessarily want to overwhelm the DOT virtual classroom, but I think that it is something we all need to remember because we all are part of this tourism product, because you don't know when someone is going to stop you walking in the middle of town as this moves on to find out some bit of information that leaves a positive, or that interaction can be like the one reason they return or not, right?
Exactly.
Depending on what that interaction is like. And so I think that from my perspective, this is something that I think is, if it is even crossed someone's mind of, is this for me? Should I do this? I think that as long as you are on these shores and that thought crosses your mind, that it's probably relevant for you to.
And it relates to a business owner who wants to improve the standards of their business and instill a level of pride in the service that they're delivering. And then it's to motivate staff that, these are the things that surprise and delight. We talk about creating Cayman moments and magic, and that's what it's all about, is to be helpful, to be warm, everything that Cayman is known for in terms of our hospitality. It's to embody that.
Absolutely. And so please continue, Carol, because I cut you off in the middle of the talk.
Yeah, I could talk about this for forever. I'm very passionate about the subject. But I did want to have a few moments to talk about Founded as well, because Founded is our newest offering. And at a time like this, when people are thinking about what's next with their businesses, this is a good opportunity to consider those in context of founding a business, maybe branching out. And Founded addresses just that. Founded is directed towards small and micro businesses in the tourism industry. And this is timely in the sense that now you're thinking about, well, how do I repurpose my business? But you also want to stay ready for that next wave of tourism business that will come after this. And we can't wait till the moment that it comes to prepare. We have to be prepared to take the opportunity. The best quote I've ever heard about that is that good luck is when opportunity and preparation collide. So right now is preparation phase. What do we do? And we want you to be excited about it. We don't want you to fear it. And we want you to know that DOT is here. There are certain services that we offer that can help you along as you look at the things that drive a successful business. We want to have long-lasting, healthy businesses. And we're not the only ones directing that, but we do have a lot to say about it as it relates to tourism. And we bring a lot to the table. So the two things that are business functions that you should mainly concentrate on, what 5 aspects drive those, and how DOT can help are mainly what we'll be focusing in the 40 minutes that we do have with each other. And I encourage anybody who's even dreamed of establishing a business to check us out. Like I said, we are targeting Caymanian entrepreneurs who are looking to start a business or who maybe have one and they're looking to branch out and expand their offerings.
Awesome. And I know that one of the things that people, if they've missed it at any point in this conversation, is how much does it cost? FREE. If it's free, it is for me. I love it.
So there's absolutely no excuse. It's in the comfort of your home. Nobody has to know that you're in your jammies, but you can get all that good information in 40 minutes, and then we address your top questions following that. And anything else that you have outside that, we do provide you with an email address where you can come back to us and ask us additional questions. So we're trying to make ourselves available in every way possible to make sure that people are best equipped to go forward.
And you alluded to it just now, but I know one of the questions that I was curious about was, is this a recorded segment that I will watch and then have a test on afterward? Or what will this virtual classroom webinar look like? Like, will we still get to talk to Miss Carol?
Yes, I'll be live in the flesh, and it won't just be me. We have 2 other trainers that are eager to share what they know with you. And what will happen is like I said, we'll address it live. So you'll sign up through normal channels. Our website is pride.ourkman.ky. And once you go there, you'll see a link where you can register for either Promises webinar or Founded webinar. And then from there, you can choose a list of dates that are available from now until we have a schedule planned out up until August. And what we're doing is we're offering 1 Founded and 1 Promises every other week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. The classes start at 11 a.m. And we are planning to record those sessions so that if for some reason what we go through, you want to go back and review, you're able to, at your own leisure, go back and take your time, play, pause, that sort of thing. But also, when you attend the live session, you do still receive the certificate as you would through our in-class offering. Now, if you were to watch a recorded version, obviously that's for your own edification. But if you've attended our live version, that certificate would be emailed to you in a soft copy so that we can nice and protect everybody and maintain social distancing. But you won't lose out on anything. So all the key components of the in-class offerings will be made available, except for the food.
Awesome. And a shout out to Miss Melinda, who is tuned in. My mother, who says 3 amazing ladies. I don't want to pronounce it wrong, but Fateh is also tuned in. All tuned in on Facebook. Thank you for all those who are watching us via live stream, and if you're tuned in via the radio. And of course, they're with me for about another 5-6 minutes or so until the halfway point. Something that came to mind, well, you answered, one of my questions was, do we still get the certificate? So for those who may not know, why, besides for just having a nice, beautiful certificate to put on your wall, why is the issuance of that certificate important? Or the ability to still obtain the certificate?
The ability to, that's really important for a job. For a job, like you could put that on your resume, is widely recognized through the country. So this makes you more appealing to persons with hiring within the tourism sector. In fact, we have partnerships with many. You mentioned Cayman Airways earlier. We do regular training for certain entities. And so if you can present this, if you were looking for a job, for example, you're already one step ahead.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I think it's also, some of these courses are necessary as well. They're requirements for things like taxi and tour operators as well. So they are necessary to obtain certificates for those reasons. Now, one of my curiosities was, can we look for webinars? And I don't know if you know the answer to this yet, but can we look for webinars to continue after life is normal again?
I think so. Go ahead, Carol.
No, I'll defer to you on this one.
Well, I think that, persons want to connect in different ways. And Obviously, attendance is important, and our Know Your Cayman Islands workshop, which we're still drafting the webinar version of it, is an interactive one because it takes you through the history, the culture, some of the traditional Cayman games and arts and craft, what have you. It's hands-on. So we're having to adapt that workshop into a webinar, which will be less touch or no touch at all. So I think that you'll find us continuing with webinars. We find the capability, everyone has it now because we're forced to be on video conferencing, and we still have our training center in Cannon Place in Industrial Park. We'll still be headquartered there. It's just in the interim, this is the way to do it, and we'll probably have a mixture of in-person and technology-based.
Awesome. No, I will tell you that I quite enjoy the free food that is at the live training. That's always a welcome part. So I'm glad to hear that the live in person training will continue because you are right. It is nice to be in those classroom settings, hearing other people's point of view. Even I remember, and I don't remember which one of the classes this is, but where you ask like how much a room costs and that sort of stuff, and we go through like what the pricing is for an average hotel stay, and it's anywhere from $75 to like $900 estimates from everyone in the room, and just that whole interactive aspect of
yes.
So I think those parts are still very very relevant, but I am so excited to see that you guys have decided that this is prime time for preparation, because no matter which way you spin it, even if we are delayed but not denied, tourism is the second major pillar of our economy, which is why we have felt these closures so hard.
And I just want to say that I always try to look for the silver lining. What would have not happened had we not had this pause? We were forced to think beyond, because now our environment and how we work and how we operate changes. So I like to try to find the rainbow, the blue sky, the silver lining to say, okay, we know that it's a difficult period. Businesses are making very difficult decisions right now in tourism. It is not all sunshine. However, if we DOT was to focus on our business, this is our core competence. We deliver training, and for those businesses who are up for it, who would like to assign their staff this 45-minute immersion, just to break up some of the stress that we're feeling as well, being in this situation, it's another outlet. Similar to when I started, the marketing bit on our Facebook and Instagram pages for Visit Cayman Islands. We're doing DJ sessions. We had Renegade on last Friday, Steel Drum with Michael LeMay. We had yoga sessions. I think we're having a cooking class, or we may have had it already. So we're wanting to ensure that there's outlets for our visitors and those here on island. And we have more programming that we're working on for our interim plan as we work on what will it take to onboard tourism in the longer view. Now, we know that we don't know when the longer view is, but it is something that is certainly a day-to-day discussion and strategizing on how we support our industry.
So very true. And I appreciate the work that you're doing, and I want to say, what you're talking about, providing outlets for visitors and such as well. There's those Facebook groups on like Facebook groups where like I love Cayman Islands and things like that. I saw a post from a lady She said they were supposed to be visiting here, I think sometime in the next week or two, and she had this picture of like, it's a picture from like Cayman DOT, and someone's like floating in the water, and you see like
Yeah.
the fishes around them, and she took a picture of herself lying on her living room floor, and she put like various items around her to mimic like the fish in the water and stuff, and there is like a water angel, like just reminiscing and planning for when
Yeah.
she'll rebook her trip. And so people don't underestimate the fact that our visitors, whether they are first time visitors or visitors waiting to return, are still hanging on and waiting impatiently, but waiting for the opportunity for when they will get to come see us again, or see us for the first time and rebook their trips. I have seen posts from people who are hanging on tightly, like, do you think I should remove, like cancel my trip for July, or should I just wait? Like, they are hanging on with bated breath because they are desperately waiting to come and see us, and that is why this preparation phase is so incredibly important. So if you could, for me, if you could just remind everyone how they get registered and when these classes kick off, how they reach you, all that important information.
Okay, so again, to sign up or find more information, you want to visit our website. It's pride, PRIDE, at ourcayman.ky. And from there, you can choose whether you want to sign up for promises, bounded, or both. We are limiting class sizes to 20 persons so that we can go ahead and engage with questions. We want to be able to answer those and not have it seem so impersonal. Like I said, it's free, so not to worry about that. And all the classes start at 11 a.m. and run on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The first class will begin on the 28th of April. So mark your calendars. Do whatever you have to put it in your smartphone, but definitely sign up and come see us, come spend time with us. We want to help you prepare, and it'll be just good to interact with members of the tourism industry again.
I think that's awesome. And just a few comments coming in on Facebook. Miss Melinda says, I am really excited about this. And in all capital letters, thank you. And my mother says, your shows are amazing. They remind us life carries on. And Patrick says, the dream is still alive.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right, Patrick.
That's right. And so final thoughts from you, Miss Rosa.
I just want to thank you for having us on. We are happy to bring solutions in a time of uncertainty so that we can shift our focus and focus on things that are positive, that can upskill those that are willing to increase their professional development, and also know that your DOT is working hard on what our rebound will be, and we're committed to bringing back all of those wonderful visitors when it's safe.
Mm-hmm. That gave me cold chills. Like, I just like, you totally planted an image in my mind about like the rebound. Like y'all, we coming and we coming to get you. You are coming back.
That's right.
Thank you so much for the hard work that you are doing. I look forward to updates. I may sign up for a webinar just to see what it's like. and right, because I haven't done Founded yet, so I'm excited to.
And I'd be very curious. Now I know you wear many hats.
Yes, so I'm excited. But guys, thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. And be safe. And I look forward to doing my webinar when I get a chance to do that of Founded. And to the listening audience, keep it locked. I'll be here right after the break, and I will stick with you till 6 o'clock. We'll be going out to open mic. Of course, there was this afternoon's briefing, so we'll talk about that a little bit, as well as I have MLA Kenneth Bryan coming on tomorrow, so I'll touch base on that as well. But I want you to keep it locked right here. We'll be gone for a brief few minutes to Star 92.7. I'll be right back for some Straight Talk. We are back, guys, and you are tuned into Straight Talk, brought to you exclusively by Star 92.7 Premium Radio. I am your host, Ruthanna Young. I'll be with you until 6 o'clock this evening. It is 5:38 on the Star 92.7 clock. We are now in our open mic segment. Thank you so much to Ms. Rosa Harris and Ms. Kyle Brighton from the Department of Tourism for the information they just shared and all of the work that they are doing to make sure that, as Ms. Rosa said, when you rebound, when it's time to reopen our doors and do so safely, that our tourism industry is ready. And I will be sure that on my Facebook page, I post some of the relevant information and contacts for the courses and such on my Facebook page. You can find me on Facebook, Ruthanna M. Young. I know many of you follow me there. And 943-3700 is the line in studio. And you can still call the studio line, although I am streaming live from home. We can still pick up your phone calls. And thank you for all of you who have it locked in this afternoon. I know that these are adjustments for us all. 324-1565 is the WhatsApp number if you want to WhatsApp me with any questions, comments, or concerns, or you can also email me at straighttalkci@gmail.com. Shout out, and we are streaming live from the Star 92.7 Facebook page. Thank you to all of you who are locked in via Facebook as well. Just a quick heads up for tomorrow, I will have MLA for Georgetown Central, Mr. Kenneth Bryan, in studio with me to talk about a number of things that he's working through in his constituency and at a country level at this time. We do know that they are now going through the steps of changing standing orders and subsequently being able to hold essentially a virtual meeting of the Legislative Assembly coming up on Thursday, in which they will debate a number of bills at that time. Everyone is making adjustments, but including our government. And so we will get to talk to him tomorrow on that. So he will be with me for the hour tomorrow. So lots to talk about with Mr. Kenneth Bryan. For today, for those who tuned into today's press conference, yes, I think many thousands of us tune in through a multitude of channels with bated breath for newest announcements regarding COVID-19 numbers, latest developments in government, any adjustments to curfews, all those things that we listen out for. Health updates on those who have tested positive, and what comes next. There is always a curiosity about what comes next. One of the questions that many people have had over the coming weeks is, would they allow us to withdraw from our private pensions? And if so, when was that going to happen? How quickly was that going to happen? The Premier over the last 2 days has clarified essentially what we can anticipate as being the final results being passed through the Legislative Assembly in the meeting on Thursday. Yesterday's press briefing, he did basically inform us as to what the numbers were in that if you have a private pension, and this is applicable to private pension only, if you have a private pension and it's still an active pension plan, meaning that you have not essentially gone into retirement or early retirement, or for any reason basically started withdrawal or disbursements from that pension fund, it's considered an active pension fund. You will be able to access money from that fund. It starts with, if you have $10,000 or less in it, you can access up to $10,000. That's the starting point. And if you have more than $10,000, you get to take out the full $10,000, plus you can take out up to 25% of the remaining balance. To use the Premier's example that he gave yesterday, it was, for example, if you have $100,000 in your private pension fund and you take out the first $10,000, you would then be able to take out an additional 25% of the remaining $90,000 that's in the pension account balance. Of course, and pension account values are based on essentially the value at time of withdrawal. The Premier did indicate and kind of forewarn people that pension account balances could look very different than the last time you got a statement from your pension provider, because of what the stock market has done over the last few weeks because of COVID-19. And if you look on my Facebook page, courtesy of MLA Kenneth Bryan, which he shared via WhatsApp chat, I did post the list that he provided, in essence, a list of pension providers and their contact details to make it easy. There have been a number of discussions in the community over this, over pension and the people withdrawing from pension. The Premier has confirmed that this is not applicable to public pensions at this time, and I think he gave a very detailed reasoning as to your thought process today about why that wouldn't be the case right now. And I think something I want to spend some time on this afternoon with the 15 minutes or so that I have left is some of the things I think we need to be really thinking about as we go forward and we move forward through this time. Because my concerns, my thoughts for us as a community is us being very optimistic but realistic at the same time. Now, I don't want anyone's mental health to be challenged, and that I wish that was not the case, but it is a very stressful time, and I get it, and it can be hard to plan, and I am probably one of the most optimistic people that you will come across, because I do believe there is always a silver lining. However, I also believe that we have to be realistic about certain goals and objectives. And as I listened to today's press briefing, one of the things that came to my mind was the fact that while we need to be optimistic about when we are going to be reopening domestically, I think we also have to be very realistic about when we will get to reopen to the international market. And I think that is one of the things that we may not be fully digesting in the reality of this situation and what that means for us. Because until we can reopen our borders fully, it means essentially that tourism is shut for us. And that is just shy of half of what is normally, our GDP and half of our economy. And the fact that even though we've had, thousands of work permit holders leave at this point, and more will leave, I am sure more are trying to leave. I know that there will be challenges for persons with employment and all those sorts of things. But I do have a call coming in, so I want to make sure that I get to the caller, and then I will continue my thought process. So I will bring the caller in. Welcome to Straight Talk. What's on your mind today?
Hello?
Hello, yep, I can hear you.
Oh, I hard hear you though.
Okay, I'll do my best. I'll talk up for you. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, thanks. I'm still here.
All right, tell me what's on your mind today.
Oh, yeah, just listening to you and thinking about if we open up, so they say, you gonna be happy if we go back to the same thing.
I think this is a great opportunity for us to reassess the things that are important to us and plan a better way forward. Because I do believe that many members of our community and our society feel like since we are forced into this reset, that we should take time to reassess some of the things that weren't working for us as Cayman and Caymanians.
One of those assessments, one of my assessments was, I understand the cruise ship or the tourism part. I understand that, but did you follow up on like how much pollution has been stopped since the whole world been locked down?
I've seen the pictures. I love it. Even here, even when you're not talking about a pollution aspect, I remember when the beaches were still open and I went to Smith Cove on the one opportunity I got to do that with all the curfews and such. And I was shocked to see so many fish right up next to the shoreline. And that's just by virtue of the fact that there isn't heavy traffic in the water at this time and all those sorts of things. We've seen pictures circulating on Facebook about the amount of Cayman parrots that have come out because there's less disturbance to them, right? So even in the context of Cayman, even when we're not necessarily talking about pollution per se, you see how the natural environment and animals and just certain aspects of things are responding to a reduced human interaction and disturbance. And I have seen lots of pictures from around the world of the effects of the shutdown in a positive way in terms of environment and reduction in pollution, and just like nature is rebounding, during this time. So, and I know that nature is grateful that we're all in our house. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, yeah. Even the earth stopped vibrating as much. You know what I mean? They say it stopped because of the movements of the whole world, us on the world.
Yes.
And if you can still hear me, I'm saying, well, okay, I understand you making some money for your take home for your family, and or you sending back money and this and that off from the tourism, and people making money from that. I understand that, but I go and sit there, or I go and like just relax while you make money and pollute the rest of the world. Even though you talk about these cruise ships can just offload their trash or whatever out in the middle of the ocean and pay money, and continue to go somewhere else and offload again. Now, that being with what we just saw, what you just explained about the Earth being, less, having less air smog or whatever, you understand? Seeing the pictures and all that, just through that happening, through those cruise ships and the planes start flying, cars start driving. I kind of think, your money going on the table and me having oxygen to breathe, I kind of think that is, more important. So I don't know how you want to take that, but I'm sorry. I have
No,
to.
what would you, from a,
because if you're going to open back up for us to go to the same, and you're going to be, we might be small, but we still contributing to the pollution. When we
agreed. And let me ask you.
Like
Let
I
me
told
ask
you
you
before, I
something.
have so I know all kind of knowledge about power, how you can get power from the sun, power from the trees, power from almost just the sky. And I read one part where a man somewhere up in New Jersey, he made something that you can get free water out of the air. He just let it out there for people to get free water in not even 3-4 months. Somebody went and damaged it, and he said how they damaged it is like they damaged it. They know what they were doing. You understand?
Let
No,
me.
yeah, I'm kind of
Let me. Can you hear me?
Probably to stop the water bottle sale or the. You understand? That just shows me if we don't go back to that same kind of life like that, then I mean.
Well, let me ask. Can I ask you something? What would you like to see us? What are the changes you would like to see us make after this? What are some of the changes for Cayman? What would you like to see us do?
Number one, I would really, really love to see us not depending on other places for food, work. Understand? Like like what you're saying. I wouldn't love. I really don't want to see the tourism being our main, or supposedly supposed to be our main source of income, or our resources.
One of them.
Sorry.
Yep. Fair enough. And I just wanted, I think we all have our own thoughts about what we think it should look like. And I was just curious as to, what changes you would like to see us make. And I think that is something I'm going to do a show about, because I think there are a lot of people that echo, including myself, that echo your sentiments about wanting to make certain changes. But so, and thank you to the caller for calling in. To go back to what I was saying prior to the caller, and I do agree with him that there are things that many of us would like to. We've seen the reality of scaling back a little bit, what it means in our own households, what it means, for our families, for our personal well-being, the time to think, the less traffic, fix the traffic problem, those sorts of things. So I think that's something I want to have another open discussion about. But back to my thoughts before I run out of time. So the premier talked today about, the access to pension. And yes, I know that I've gotten tons of messages from persons who, feel very still highly stressed about the fact that they, by law, the pension providers will have, in essence, 7 plus 45 days to issue the payments, right? So in total, they will have 52 days up to 52 days from the receipt of completed and proper application. And so for those who may have missed that in terms of timeline, that is what we're looking at. Now, yes, I completely, I'm right there with everybody and understand that for many people, for most of us really, that 52 days, if you are forced to wait that long, if your pension provider takes that long to issue the payment to you, seems like a lifetime away, because many people have gone to zero in terms of income overnight, especially those who are in any way, shape, or form related to hospitality, or in some cases, those that are connected to hospitality workers. I know of domestic helpers who lost their job because their employer has lost their job, and those sorts of things. I know business owners who, need that pension in order to try to even have any hope of keeping their businesses afloat by accessing their own personal pension, not just for the purpose of, providing for themselves, but also in hopes to be able to stop, their business from hemorrhaging, to be able to keep as many staff on as possible in anticipation of the domestic reopening, for example. And I think that's, for a lot of business owners, that's what they're trying to hang on for. For those that are in tourism related businesses and have not been able to, in essence, pivot to figure out how are we going to operate in a domestic market. I know many of those business owners that have had and continue to have some very difficult conversations about permanent terminations or closures of businesses. We hear every day at least I and many of us hear every day about businesses that are deciding to close their doors for good. And that is an unfortunate reality of this time, a time we have no control over. No one could have ever dreamt this up in our wildest imaginations, that this is where we would be. We see all the memes and the jokes about, rewinding to 2021. I want us to be really realistic about how long we will feel the impacts of this. Based on anything that I've read, any of the projections that I've seen out there, now that doesn't have to be 100%, but based on anything that I have read for myself, and even based on what the premier has said, we can anticipate feeling the effects of this for at least another year, 18 months, and maybe for a few years after that, when you're talking about being able to fully rebound, when people are comfortable to travel, as per usual again, if that is ever even a thing, and for us to figure out how do we fill the gaps in our economy. Redeveloping a new industry isn't something you typically do overnight, unless the only time I see that happens when people hit oil, and then all of a sudden there's suddenly a new industry that you didn't anticipate. But short of that, it takes time to redevelop, new income sources and the like. And so this is not we need to plan mentally to be in this for the long haul. Even as, and I echo what the premier and I've seen others say around this issue, is behave like we understand that this is a long haul situation. It is not nice to think about. And it can be a daunting reality to even digest. But if we just face the reality for what it is, then I think we can better prepare ourselves. And that is something that I want better prepare ourselves for a situation we weren't prepared for, if you want to put it that way. And that is something that I really want to see us do as a community, as people, because I don't want us to be, overly optimistic about the international aspect of it, because largely that is something we have no control over. And when we think about the numbers of our tourists that come from the international arena, from America, from the UK, and realistically how long they will probably be battling this, for months and months to come before we can ever look at and even be a thought about when we reopen our borders to them, unless a vaccine comes, unless on the spot testing comes so that people can be tested before they get onto an airplane. Without any of that, we have to ensure that we are planning for the long haul effects of this. And so if you listen to nothing else I say, I really, really want individuals, households, families to have some real discussions about how we weather this storm in the long term. Put our thinking caps on, really figure, like, this is the time. If you didn't know how to, like, if a discussion I had with someone today was over food, and they were talking about, how they would normally cook versus the adjustments they've had to make the internet your best friend, right? And I know that's yes, I'm enjoying the cooking and all of that right now, but be thoughtful in all of those things. And so I encourage you, and I think that these are things we need to start communities around, whether it be social media, in our homes, amongst our families, about how we plan financially to weather this in the long term. And it is just 1 minute shy of 6 o'clock, and so we'll be out of here at 6 o'clock on the button. But again, reminding you that we do have MLA for Georgetown Central, Mr. Kenneth Bryan, joining me in studio tomorrow to talk about what he has been up to, what is coming up in the Legislative Assembly on Thursday. We know that's when we can expect to see the debate and the passing of these bills that's going before Legislative Assembly. There's a number of them. So he will be with me tomorrow. So lock it in at 5 o'clock sharp. And he'll be with me for the full hour tomorrow. But I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And I'll be back here tomorrow, right here, for some more Straight Talk on Star 92.7.